Rain pounded the marble steps of the Grand Astoria Hotel. Lightning cut through midnight clouds over Manhattan. A lone violin screeched inside the gala's entrance hall. Scarlett Hayes pressed her back against a cold column. Her gown clung to her damp skin. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She scanned every painted portrait overhead. Orchestra music swelled behind closed doors. Footsteps echoed on polished stone. Someone whispered her name in the shadows. Her breath caught as she glimpsed a masked stranger. He offered a jeweled glove with a crooked smile. Thunder rattled the ornate chandelier above. Scarlett's fingers trembled around her clutch. The masked man's eyes glinted with intent. A frantic alarm bell rang in the distance. Guests screamed somewhere down the grand corridor. Rainwater dripped from the oak doors. Scarlett took a trembling step forward. The stranger bowed and extended a hand. She hesitated as lightning flickered her reflection. "Dance with me," he murmured. Her world narrowed to his outstretched glove. A distant crash startled her. Glass shattered behind her. She spun, heart racing, to see staff rushing in panic. He lowered the glove, revealing a single white rose. Her chest tightened. He whispered again, "This is your only way out." A guard's shout cut through the storm's roar. Scarlett's eyes widened as masked figures advanced. She glanced down at the rose. Petals soaked in crimson droplets. He offered a trembling hand once more. Her hope sparked in the thunderlit hall, and then a silhouette lunged from the darkness. Scarlett froze. The stranger caught her arm. "Trust me," he hissed as boots thundered closer. Her breath hitched on the cliff of fear. A final crack of lightning revealed his pale, determined face. She had no choice. Hand in hand, they stepped into the storm. Scarlett Hayes woke each morning before sunrise. She lived on a brownstone street in Brooklyn. Her small kitchen smelled of strong coffee. A faded family photo sat on her windowsill. She brushed her chestnut hair into a loose bun. Her reflection showed tired green eyes. She worked long hours at an art gallery. Her boss praised her sharp eye for detail, but Scarlett felt something missing inside. Her younger brother, Mason, called her every night. "Hey, big sis," his voice crackled with laughter. She forced a smile as she wiped a paint smudge. I wish I could fix everything, she thought. On weekends, she volunteered at a women's shelter. She served soup with gentle kindness. Her favorite client, Miss Rodriguez, hugged her tight. "Thank you, dear," Miss Rodriguez whispered. Scarlett's heart warmed despite her own worries. Her apartment walls held stacks of overdue bills. She hid them beneath a stack of Gothic novels. Scarlett dreamed of staging her own art show. She sketched invitations in her worn notebook. Her roommate, Jenna, teased her over cereal. "You're going to conquer the art world," Jenna said. Scarlett laughed, though doubt lurked beneath. Her parents lived in Ohio, an hour from Cleveland. They celebrated every small success. Her mother's letters arrived with homemade cookies. Scarlett cherished the folded recipe cards inside, but one letter stopped coming last month. She fingered the empty mailbox with worry. "Where did your smile go, Mom?" she wondered. In her neighborhood, the brownstones stood close together. Children played hopscotch under rusted fire escapes. Graffiti art brightened cracked alley walls. At dusk, street musicians filled the air with jazz. Scarlett often paused to drop $1 in the case. She loved how music felt alive and raw. At the gallery, Scarlett curated a new exhibit on stolen art. She researched famous thefts for days. Her editor, Mr. Levine, praised her thorough notes. "You're finding patterns no one else sees," he said. Scarlett felt a thrill at the hidden connections. Still, her heart fluttered whenever she thought of the gala. 2 weeks ago, an invitation arrived in gold ink. She stared at the embossed envelope in disbelief. "The Grand Astoria Gala," she whispered. Inside lay a single white rose petal glued to the card. Her pulse quickened at its fragile beauty. Something about that rose petal felt familiar. That night, Scarlett dreamed of a masked dance. A distant violin played in her ear. She woke in panic, blankets tangled around her legs. What's waiting at the gala? She wondered. On her subway ride, she clutched the gala invitation. A suited stranger brushed past her wrist. He dropped a single white rose petal on the floor. Scarlett froze as it fluttered between tiles. He was gone before she could look up. Was it real or just my mind? Later, her phone buzzed with a text from Mason. "Miss you, be safe at the gala." She frowned. He never texted so urgently. Her breath caught in her throat. Why is he worried? That night, Scarlett lay restless in bed. Moonlight cast shadows across her ceiling. She stared at the invitation on her nightstand. Her heart pounded with equal parts hope and fear. Outside, thunder rumbled like a warning. Tomorrow, she thought, everything changes. Scarlett arrived at the Grand Astoria's grand foyer at dusk. Crystal chandeliers glowed above polished marble floors. She clutched her invitation and rose petal keepsake. A masked usher guided her toward the ballroom doors. Discordant laughter drifted from behind velvet drapes. Scarlett's pulse fluttered as she stepped inside. Music paused abruptly as a hush fell. A tall man in a tailored tux removed his mask. He held a framed portrait of Scarlett's mother. Her breath stuttered at the familiar face. The portrait slipped from his gloved hands. It shattered like a broken mirror. Guests murmured in startled confusion. Scarlett pushed through the crowd to the stage. Blue spotlights revealed a lone white rose on a pedestal. A voice crackled through hidden speakers. "Miss Hayes," it called, "your mother's secret awaits." Scarlett's stomach twisted into knots. She recognized the voice from her childhood, her mother's confidant. Trembling, she approached the pedestal. The rose rested atop a locked glass case. An ornate key dangled from a silver chain above it. Scarlett's fingers hovered but did not touch. A spotlight swung toward the east balcony. There, a cloaked figure held her mother's leather journal. Scarlett's heart pounded louder than the orchestra's drums. She raced up a sweeping staircase 2 steps at a time. Guests gasped as her stiletto heels clicked. The cloaked figure vanished through a side door. Scarlett reached the balcony railing, panting. Below, the journal lay open on a marble ledge. She flicked it shut without reading. Thunder rumbled overhead, as if applauding danger. Scarlett peered through the glowing foyer to the doors. They stood flung wide, wind tugging at her gown. Inside, masked guests scattered toward exits. A distant scream echoed down the hall. Scarlett's breath caught in her throat. She turned to a sudden flash at her back. The masked stranger from her dreams stood there. His voice was low and urgent. "Your mother hid something here. You must find it." She stared at his calm blue eyes. "Why are you helping me?" she whispered. He extended a hand, revealing a second white rose. "Trust me," he said. Scarlett's mind whirled with questions. Behind her, footsteps thundered on marble stairs. A sense of dread settled in her chest. She slipped her hand into his. Together, they dove into the shadowed corridors. Scarlett and the stranger slipped through a shadowed service corridor. Faint light from exit signs cast long, jittery shadows. Her hand trembled around the second white rose. He closed the heavy door behind them with a soft click. Footsteps echoed beyond the corridor's curve. Scarlett's pulse raced as she scanned peeling wallpaper. The stranger pressed a finger to his lips. She nodded, heart pounding. They crept toward a stairwell marked staff only. A muffled argument drifted up from below. Scarlett recognized her gallery's head curator's voice. "Give me the journal," the curator barked. "We can't," replied a softer voice. Scarlett froze. The curator's footsteps climbed the stairs. The stranger grasped her elbow. "We need another route," he whispered. He guided her through a narrow door into a supply closet. Boxes of linens and cleaning supplies crowded around them. Scarlett's breath fogged in the stale air. He found a vent cover with a wrench. She held the rose petals tight as metal scraped. A sudden crash from the stairwell made her flinch. The curator's shout rang out. "They've vanished!" Scarlett's chest tightened with dread. The stranger pried the vent free and slipped inside. She followed, crawling over dusty ducts. "Stay quiet," he urged. Below, a trio of masked figures stormed through the hallway. Their boots pounded like war drums. Scarlett's heart thudded in her ears. One figure paused beneath the vent shaft. He scanned the floor. Scarlett froze, teardrops sliding down her cheeks. The figure shrugged and moved on. They crawled further toward a maintenance ladder. Scarlett glimpsed her reflection in a rusted pipe. Her eyes were wide with fear. He whispered, "Almost there." They reached the ladder shaft. Scarlett's fingers gripped cold metal rungs. As she climbed, a paper fluttered into her hand. It was a torn page from her mother's journal. A single sentence read, "Trust no one at the gala." Her breath caught. Above, a spotlight flickered through a grate. He climbed up and helped her through a narrow hatch. They emerged in a quiet hallway lined with portraits. Scarlett recognized her mother's artwork displayed on the walls. Each painting held hidden symbols she'd never noticed before. The stranger knelt beside one painting, tracing a small latch. "It opens," he said. Scarlett's fingers shook as she flipped the latch. A hidden compartment revealed a small velvet box. Inside, a tarnished key and faded photograph lay together. The photo showed her mother dancing at the gala, smiling at a masked man. Scarlett's breath caught. Her mother's eyes held both joy and fear. Suddenly, an alarm blared overhead. Scarlett yanked the key from the box. "Who are they?" she demanded, voice trembling. He slid his mask up to reveal a familiar jawline. "Someone who owes your mother a debt," he replied. Before she could respond, the hidden door behind them burst open. Masked agents flooded the corridor with drawn weapons. Scarlett's hand clenched the tarnished key. He pulled her back, pressing her against the wall. Bullets ricocheted off the marble floor. Scarlett's heart pounded like thunder. She realized escape would need more than courage. She spotted a nearby fire door. He nodded toward it. Together, they bolted into the smoke-filled stairwell. Scarlett and Marcus slipped into a deserted garage gym. Rusty dumbbells lined the walls beside worn punching bags. Marcus flicked on a single overhead bulb. The light cast long, dramatic shadows across concrete floors. Scarlett's eyes adjusted to the stark room. Marcus handed her a pair of leather gloves. "First lesson, stance," he said softly. Scarlett planted her feet shoulder-width apart. She watched his reflection in a cracked mirror. "Keep your guard up," he instructed. Her arms shook as she raised them. She jabbed the air, awkward and slow. "Good, but tighter," he encouraged. Scarlett narrowed her elbows around her face. She felt muscles awaken under her skin. Marcus stepped back, nodding. Next, he placed a focus mitt before her. "Hit it," he said. She swung, connecting with a sharp smack. Adrenaline flared in her chest. "Again," Marcus urged calmly. She landed 3 more solid hits. Her breath ragged, she straightened. He nodded approvingly. "Now footwork," Marcus said. He demonstrated light, dancing steps. Scarlett mimicked his movement, feet skimming concrete. Her heart pounded like war drums. She stumbled. He reached out. "Balance comes with practice," he said. Scarlett steadied herself, cheeks flushed. Next, they moved to the shooting range. Targets lined the far wall under bright lights. Marcus handed her a compact pistol. Scarlett's fingers trembled around the grip. He guided her hand placement gently. "Breathe steady," he coached. She exhaled before squeezing the trigger. The shot rang out, metal on metal. Scarlett's ears rang as she blinked. Her bullet hit just below the bullseye. She frowned in frustration. Marcus nodded. "Progress," he said. They repeated drills until dusk. Scarlett's arms ached pleasantly. Marcus shared his story in quiet asides. He'd been a covert operative once. He lost everything to a hidden betrayal. Scarlett listened, empathy softening her stance. "I'm stronger than I thought," she realized. By nightfall, she felt capable and sure. Marcus examined her stance one last time. "You're ready," he said. Scarlett pocketed the tarnished key. Lightning flashed through the garage window. She met his steady gaze. "I won't fail," she whispered. He nodded with quiet pride. Outside, distant sirens signaled looming danger. Scarlett squared her shoulders against it. She stepped into the night, empowered. Scarlett returned to her apartment before dawn. Boxes of journals lay scattered on her coffee table. She flipped through pages, seeking hidden clues. A soft knock startled her at the door. Jenna's voice sounded nervous outside. "Can I come in?" Jenna asked. Scarlett invited her inside, though instincts fluttered. Jenna's eyes flicked to the tarnished key. "I found this in your coat," Jenna said. Scarlett's heart sank as she took it back. Jenna smiled too wide. "Thought you might need a hand tonight," she added. Scarlett frowned, suspicion prickling her skin. "Something's off," she whispered under her breath. Jenna's phone buzzed loudly on the table. She glanced at the screen and paled. "Oops," Jenna muttered, rushing to leave. Scarlett grabbed her arm. "Wait, why did you text Mason?" she demanded. Jenna pulled away, eyes glinting cold. I wanted to protect you, she lied. Scarlett felt a sting of betrayal. Memories of Mason's urgent text flashed in her mind. She realized Jenna knew more than she admitted. Before Scarlett could speak, Jenna slipped out. Scarlett's chest tightened with betrayal's icy grip. She dialed Marcus's number with trembling fingers. No answer. Suddenly, her phone pinged again. A message from an unknown number read, "Stop digging or you'll lose everything." Scarlett's breath hitched. Her mother's journal felt heavier in her bag. She raced to the garage gym, rain pelting her back. Marcus stood under the single bulb, arms crossed. His eyes glowed in the dim light. "Did Jenna meet you?" he asked quietly. Scarlett nodded, voice tight with hurt. "I think she's against us." Marcus's jaw clenched. He pulled out Jenna's phone from his pocket. "I intercepted this," he said. He handed her a photo text. Jenna and the head curator whispering in a dark hallway. Scarlett's world spun with shock. "And they're both working for the gallery's owner," Marcus continued. Scarlett's vision blurred with tears. Betrayal cut deeper than any blade. She gripped the tarnished key like a lifeline. Marcus placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We'll face them together," he vowed. Scarlett lifted her chin, resolve igniting. Her trust was shattered, but her spirit remained unbroken. Scarlett and Marcus raced up narrow fire escape stairs. Rain slicked the metal steps. They burst onto a neon-lit rooftop. Wind battered their soaked clothing. Below, the Gala's lights shimmered like distant stars. Jenna and the curator stood near the rooftop edge. Scarlett's heart pounded against her ribs. Jenna held Scarlett's mother's journal. The curator aimed a sleek pistol at them. "Hand over the key," he snarled. Scarlett tightened her grip on the tarnished key. Marcus moved in front of her. Scarlett's wet hair plastered to her face. "Why betray me?" Scarlett demanded, voice trembling. Jenna's eyes glittered with shame and fear. "I did it for you," Jenna whispered. She raised the journal in a shaky hand. The yellowed pages fluttered in the wind. The curator stepped closer, cold determination in his gaze. Marcus shifted his stance, ready to protect Scarlett. Scarlett took a breath to steady her shaking limbs. Lightning forked across the storm-dark sky. A low rumble trembled under their feet. Scarlett lunged forward. She snatched the journal from Jenna's grasp. The curator fired. The shot rang sharp in the confined rooftop space. Marcus tackled Scarlett down behind a ventilation unit. Glass shards and rain droplets sprayed the concrete. Scarlett pressed close to Marcus's back. She saw Jenna's tear-streaked face under the hood. "You don't understand," Jenna cried. Scarlett aimed with unexpected boldness. She swung the tarnished key like a dagger. It struck the pistol barrel, knocking it sideways. The curator stumbled, momentarily stunned. Marcus rolled forward, sweeping the curator's legs out. The pistol clattered across the roof. Scarlett sprang to her feet. She grabbed the journal and key. Jenna faltered at the edge, rain dripping from her chin. Scarlett hesitated, torn between anger and empathy. The curator lunged again. Marcus intercepted him, clutching his collar. Scarlett reached out to Jenna. "Come back," she pleaded. Jenna's gaze shone with regret. Thunder cracked overhead as Jenna backed away. She slipped on the wet surface. Scarlett dove forward instinctively. She caught Jenna's wrist just before disaster. Both women teetered over the edge. Marcus yanked the curator off balance. The curator crashed against a rooftop air duct. Scarlett yanked Jenna to safety with one swift tug. They collapsed on the soggy rooftop floor. Harnessing every ounce of strength, Scarlett pulled Jenna in. Jenna slumped against her shoulder, sobbing. Lightning illuminated Scarlett's determined face. Sirens wailed below in the distance. The gallery's owner's limousine peeled away. Scarlett clutched the journal to her chest. Rain washed away tears and blood alike. Marcus joined them, panting but unhurt. Scarlett rose slowly, journal and key in hand. She surveyed the rain-soaked rooftop battleground. The curator lay unconscious in a puddle. Jenna stared at Scarlett with ashamed eyes. Scarlett's chest tightened with unanswered questions. "Can we trust each other?" Scarlett whispered. Jenna nodded weakly, rain diluting her words. Marcus helped Scarlett to her feet. She glanced at the journal's embossed cover. A bolt of lightning revealed a hidden inscription. "For Scarlett, my last dance." Scarlett's breath caught as rain pelted her face. Hope and dread mingled in her chest. She slipped the key into the journal's lock. The rooftop wind howled like a final applause. Scarlett turned the key in the journal's lock. The cover clicked open softly. Inside lay a folded letter in her mother's handwriting. Scarlett's fingers trembled as she unfolded it. "My dearest Scarlett, trust your heart above all." She swallowed against a lump in her throat. Below the letter, a hidden family heirloom rested. A vintage diamond necklace shimmered in the dim light. Scarlett lifted it gently, off-filling her chest. Jenna watched quietly, eyes glistening with remorse. Scarlett approached her slowly, necklace in hand. "I'm sorry," Jenna whispered. Scarlett nodded, emotions softening in her gaze. Marcus stood a few steps away, respectful silence. Scarlett draped the necklace around her neck. It settled against her collarbone like a promise. She read the rest of the letter aloud. "This necklace belonged to your grandmother. Protect it and yourself." Scarlett's heart ached with love and loss. Rain still tapped a gentle rhythm on the rooftop. She reached for Jenna's hand. "Let's finish this together," Scarlett said quietly. Jenna's lips trembled into a small, grateful smile. Far below, headlights approached the building. Police vehicles pulled up beside the entrance. Officers swarmed the Grand Astoria's steps. Marcus checked his watch under the stormy sky. "Help is here," he murmured. Jenna exhaled, relief flooding her features. Scarlett slid the journal into her coat pocket. She gazed at the twinkling city skyline. Memories of fear melted into the rain's cleansing. She pressed the heirloom to her heart. "We survived," she thought with quiet pride. Marcus offered his arm to Scarlett. She took it, leaning into his steady presence. Jenna fell in step beside them. They descended the fire escape as one. At street level, Scarlett paused to smile. Street lamps glowed against wet asphalt. She whispered, "Tonight I found my strength." Marcus squeezed her hand gently. Jenna glanced at the necklace, hope in her eyes. Scarlett looked skyward, heart light. The first pale dawn peeked through storm clouds. She stepped forward into new possibilities. Her last tear for that night had been stolen, but her first sunrise awaited without fear.